Hi guys, it's Isa. Today we're gonna see what have been the best fantasy books I've read this year so far. As of now, I've read 23 books, and here is my top 3. And we will start with The Drowning Emperor by Andrea Stewart.
This book, it's so great.
It's a sequel, so I will talk briefly about what this book offers and why I believed this was a 5 stars, but I will then talk more about the whole series, so the Drowning Empire series, which I believe really you should pick it up. I found this second book to be very different to the first one. The first one for me was kind of like 4.5 stars, and this one was a 5 stars. I really wanted to pause my life and get into this book, which for me is one of those signals that you have found a gem. The points of view have been reduced, so we will mainly see the 2 most important points of view, and then we'll see a little bit more. In the first book we have around 5 points of view, and overall we have kind of like a double down of the magic and a hint of romance, which I can understand how these might not work with a lot of people, but for me it was fantastic. However, getting into the overall series, we have the first book, The Bone Shard Daughter. In terms of setting, it's a nation-inspired story, and it's kind of like almost a blend of different genres. It has fantasy, of course, it has a little bit of sci-fi and also kind of hints of horror, but not really. Like, they are done masterfully. I really enjoyed it. It's an adult fantasy series, but I don't really believe that it's complex if you're a beginner, because there's not a lot of magic involved, and the magic, it's a hard system, so really it's very understandable. It's really explained how the magic works, because in this world the magic, it's bone shard magic, which consists on people kind of like being taken away from small bones, and these bones then put into creatures, into kind of like elements, dead elements or animals, and those kind of arise as constructs that can be directed. And so we will have in this story a lot of different points of view, but the most important ones, let's say, are 2. The first one is of this girl that it's the daughter of the emperor. The emperor is the only one that has and performs this bone shard magic, and he is kind of performing rituals in order to take these bones away from the people. It doesn't kill them, it's kind of like slowly sucking the life of people, because these bones, these creatures, can exhaust the life. However, the emperor creates these constructs because there was a war some time ago against some magical creatures, and these constructs were the only ones that remained able to fight them. And so now it's kind of like the aftermath of that, and we have this girl that has forgotten all of their memories, so she needs to recover her memories. She needs to learn this bone shard magic, because otherwise the emperor won't let her the empire. And then we have the other point of view, which is of this man that has lost his wife, and he is kind of like in this path of finding her, of recovering her, and he kind of travels island to island, and in these islands, he, not really knowing how, he turns into a hero because he cannot stand these rituals. However, there's a lot of different pieces that are moved through this story. There's danger coming up, and there's kind of like very political scenes. The ending, it's such a mind-blowing stuff. And we have the second book, which was again a 5 stars, so I really recommend. Continuing with a somewhat dark story, we have A Gallant by B. Schwab. This is a new fantasy release of March, and what can I say? This book, it's quick. It reads almost as a middle grade, because we will be following a girl that it's kind of like 15, but she has been very isolated, and she has been really, like taken apart. She hasn't had a family, and that's how we will start this story. It's kind of like an urban fantasy story. We will follow our main girl through part of her life in the orphanage, and then we will move to the main house, Gallant. In terms of tropes, there's again kind of like a blend, as always with B.E. Schwab. It's kind of like a chosen one, and there's this fight between light and evil, and it's kind of like not really a growing up story, but getting your place, kind of story. I believe it's a blend between a character and a plot driven story. There are some scenes that go really, 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 really fast, and then others that aren't as much. Originally placed it as like 4.5 stars, but since I put it down, I could not stop thinking about this, and that's why I put it in a 5 star as well. It's a story that wants to be cozy, but it's scary. You know, it's a read that you can have on a rainy day, and it's dark and it's sad and it's heartbreaking. The book has beautiful drawings that are not just illustrations for illustrations, but that plays kind of like a role in the story. And we will be following our girl Olivia. She lives in this orphanage and she cannot speak, and so she has learned to watch, to observe, and the only thing that she has that reminds her of her family, it's the diary of her mom, in which she clearly sees how her mom started to lose her mind and how her mom warns her to be away from a Gallant. And she had also has this special thing, which is that she can see ghosts. And the scenes and how this is written, it's so shocking. It was shocking for me because she described it not like really neutral, like something that our girl is used to, and you read it as something that you should be used to that as well. It's like, and then she looked at the door and there was only this eye floating around with the mouth and half of the face, and I was like, oh, what? However, one day she receives this note of her uncle saying that she is loved and that she has a legit place in Gallant. So, of course, she's happy and she gets there, but upon arriving, she discovers that there's no uncle anymore. No one really knows who sent this note, and it seems that Gallant is the place where the shadows and the real world kind of like blend, and in here where things happen. And Olivia, our girl, would be the main girl finding and solving the issue. It's a gripping read. Okay, and last but not least, we have Only a Monster, a new release and a new debut of the author. And let me tell you, what a debut! I read it kind of like a month something ago, and I still think about that ending, about those scenes, about what happens, and it's just a 5 star read. Really, it was. It's a very fast. In terms of setting, the story will unravel in London, and we will be following our main girl, who is half human, half monster. The monsters here are not werewolves, are not vampires. They are beings that can steal time from humans and use it to travel. So you can see quickly how this can become an evil thing, because the monsters are taking this time, are sucking this time.
And they are traveling far, 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 far into the past. And it has one thing that I loved.
Which was that it was really explainable, meaning if you take away 2 years, you can then move 2 years in the past, for example. You know, like, I understood that there's obviously loopholes in the time travel that I didn't understand and that I don't really believe they were very solved. But it's not a sci-fi story, so for me it was like, all right, I'll just, you know, like, go with the flow with the story. And if you go with the flow with the story and understand that it is a young adult story, I believe that you will really enjoy it. Please pick it up. It will follow our girl as she one day discovers that she has traveled into the future, and this trigger a set of events that are, oh my god, hideous and are awful. And she then, with other characters, need to go to the past to run away from what's happening, but also trying to fix what happened. And there's a lot of different houses of monsters, because all of them can time travel, but each of them has, beyond that, kind of like a special power to it. And that's also fantastic to discover these things. It's supposed to have a little bit of love triangle, which I didn't saw as much. It's neither an enemies to lovers nor a slow burn. Like, the romantic element, it's there, but it's definitely not the highlight of the book. And if you read what it's been pitched, it's kind of like, yes, our girl is falling in love with this guy, everything seems to go well, and then she is a monster and he is a monster hunter. And you know, like, things go from there. But that's not really like the story. It's more on how trying to not be evil. There's kind of like this constant presence in our main girl to what the monster do is bad. I cannot sack away time from the people, but she kind of like is forced to do that. So there's kind of like those consequences as well. It goes really fast, the story. It's fascinating. Please pick it up. Let me know down below in the comments if you have already picked any of these books, or what are you thinking? What are the best books that you've read this year so far? Recommend me anything or share it with other people in the channel. I just also very quickly wanted to say that I surpassed 500 subscribers and that I'm very happy about it. I'm very humbled about that. So thank you very much. I don't thought this would happen, so thank you, really. And well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, subscribe to the channel. I publish bookish content every Tuesday and Friday for you to enjoy, and I really hope to see you soon in all the videos. Happy reading. Bye bye.